Mm. Yeah, I noticed there's even what I like that it seems like you guys are developing as well is just sort of like learning tools for these new younger artists as well, you know, like telling the new artists what's important in like production or like what to look for and like in songwriting as well. And I just I think that's interesting how there's even a little bit of artist development built into it as well. Is that something like artist development? Is that sort of like a look as well in terms of not just like letting them pick their own, but also trying to like help them in other ways?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, like I said, it's not always a producer's fault if they don't, you can be working with a really talented producer and they are a good match for you. Like they do work in the genres you work in and they, you guys share similar influences. And so it should be a good match on paper. But if you don't, as an artist, like flesh out like what you want up front, you're going to be trying to like retool it forever. Like that's one of the big benefits to producers. They tell us this all the time is that when they're working with a songwriter off ItyDity, it can just take so much time back and forth with the revision process, like trying to communicate because you're not really speaking the same language. Like artists and songwriters don't always know all the production, like they don't know how to ask for less reverb or they don't know what they're hearing in the production terms. So yeah, we help them flesh that out with the song blueprint, what they're looking for, and then also yeah, how to like speak the language so that everybody's on the same page. It really streamlines the whole thing. And but the biggest thing, and yeah, so it's gonna be faster and easier, but for what I've always wanted to do is just make sure that people are going to be happy in the end. And that, we have 80% of, we've done surveys and 80% of songwriters are unhappy off the site, like with the results. And on our site, they're 100% happy. And I think it's the process, but it's also like what you're saying, just the development and setting the songwriter and artist up for success up front.
Mm.
Yeah.
Awesome.
I mean, I had that, I realized like through this whole process, like that, I had that, like, I thought, oh, these, why can't I find the right producer? And it's like, it took me a while, but I was like, I just don't even know who I am.
Yeah.
You can't expect people to read your mind. And record labels used to do all of this. Like they used to find like a diamond in the rough and they would give them the time and resources and people and tools to develop and then match them with songwriters, but they don't at all. And so I think that whole artist development step's totally overlooked.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I think they'll only really exist with like a few just like fringe, sort of lower level,
smaller labels, maybe like do that. But
like the what's it, Love Revolution, like Summer Walker's camp, they kind of did that a little bit because he found her on YouTube, but like it's not really that common. They're not like still scouring YouTube looking for new acts and stuff like that. So it's like to be really finding producers and people who are professional with different sounds. Like I can work on one song on your site with the producer and then have something I'm going for differently in another song and still find a producer for that, And I think that's what's really cool about it is like, that would be so hard, I think, in person, just to like try to like do the grassroots thing and ask around and, maybe hope a meeting goes well kind of thing. So yeah. I don't know. I just think I like that.
If you're not in an area where there's people around to even find somebody, right?
Yeah. Like how many hours does it take to get to the biggest city from where you live, like.
Yeah. And if you're, like you said, asking around grassroots style, which is what people do. People say all the time, like, well, what's your competition? Like how are people, how are artists and songwriters finding producers now? It's like word of mouth. I mean, that's the biggest way. And if you don't even live anywhere where any people working with anyone, like, then if you do go to the next city over, you're not even able to get a personal reference from a friend because you're just going to find them online or like on their website or something and hope for the best.